All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about a man who didn't just design buildings, he really designed the future. I'm talking about Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, easily one of the most influential architects of the entire 20th century.
Less is more. You've heard it a million times, right? It's become the mantra for minimalism. But even though the phrase itself is so simple, what it really means, well, that's often misunderstood.
So what is he actually getting at? How do you achieve more by using less? How do you create something truly monumental out of pure simplicity? That's the big question, and we're going to answer it by taking a journey through his incredible life and work.
We're going to follow his story, step by step, all the way from his early days in Germany to how he completely reinvented the American city. This really is the story of the man who built what we think of as tomorrow.
Okay, so at the very heart of his thinking was this radical new idea he called skin and bones architecture. And the concept was, shockingly simple. Show off the building's actual structure, the bones, and then wrap it in a sleek glass facade, the skin. That's it. No more hiding the stuff that actually holds the building up.
And this idea didn't just come out of nowhere. It developed over this amazing career that spanned entire continents. His journey starts in Germany, takes him to designing the legendary Barcelona Pavilion, and even to leading the famous Bauhaus school. And then, after he moves to the United States, he creates masterpieces like the Seagram Building, which completely changed the American skyline forever.
So, let's start at the beginning, where these ideas were really forged. We're heading back to that creative hotbed of early 20th century Europe, and specifically to the Bauhaus, Germany's absolutely groundbreaking school of art, architecture, and design.
Now, to really get why Mies was such a revolutionary, you have to understand what he was pushing back against. Architecture back then was all about heavy, decorated stone walls and dark, boxy rooms. Mies comes along and champions the exact opposite: light, airy glass and steel, structures that were proudly on display, and these wide-open, flowing spaces. It was a total 180-degree break from the past.
And if you want the perfect example of this new philosophy in action, just look at the Barcelona Pavilion from 1929. This thing wasn't really a building in the old sense, it was more like a giant sculpture you could walk through. He used these incredible materials and freestanding walls not to trap you inside, but to simply define the space and guide you through it. It was pure poetry in architecture.
But that whole era of incredible European creativity came to a sudden screeching halt. In 1933, the Bauhaus, the very heart of this modern movement, was shut down by the rising Nazi regime. This forced Mies and a lot of other brilliant minds to find a new place for their ideas.
And for Mies, that new place was America. He moved here in 1938, and this change of scenery gave him the chance to build on a scale he could have only dreamed of back in Europe.
It's in America that he really perfects this idea of universal space. Just picture it, a massive, wide-open interior with no columns, no walls breaking it up. Just a completely flexible space that could be used for absolutely anything. The ultimate expression of this is SR Crown Hall in Chicago. It's basically one giant, perfect room.
And his approach in America was so smart, so methodical. First, he designed the entire campus plan for the Illinois Institute of Technology, basically using it as his own personal laboratory. It was there that he developed and refined his new system for building with steel and glass. And then he took that system and perfected it in the iconic skyscrapers that came to define the modern American city.
But here's the thing. His less is more idea had a really important other half. This wasn't about being cheap or lazy. It was about boiling architecture down to its absolute essence. And that required this obsessive focus on getting every single detail right.
And that brings us to his other famous saying, God is in the details. See, for Mies, simplicity was actually incredibly difficult to achieve. It demanded total precision, the best possible materials, and absolutely flawless construction. Every single connection, every corner, every pane of glass, it all had to be perfect.
And what's amazing is how he applied this thinking at completely different scales. You look at the Farnsworth house, and it's this ultimate glass box, a tiny home that almost dissolves the line between inside and out. And then he takes that same intense focus on elegance and applies it to the Seagram Building, a massive corporate skyscraper that set a new ideal for cities all over the world.
The Seagram Building really did become the blueprint for the modern skyscraper. It was a total game changer. That bronze exterior gave it this unforgettable, dark, elegant glow.
And by setting it back from the street, Mies created a public plaza, a gift back to the city. Its structure was honest, elegant, and it became the model that basically every major corporate headquarters would copy for the next 50 years.
And the truth is, once you start looking for his influence, you see it everywhere. Seriously, we are living in a world that Mies helped build. His ideas have literally shaped the skyline of modern life.
Just think about it for a second. The glass and steel skyscraper you see in every city, the open-plan offices and houses we all live and work in, that whole idea of structural honesty, of showing how a building stands up, that all comes directly from Mies's vision. Now sure, for some people, this vision led to a world of cold, impersonal glass boxes. But for others, he created a clear, honest, and beautiful new language for architecture.
And in a fitting end to his story, his career really did come full circle. His final masterpiece was the Neue National Gallery in Berlin, finished in 1968. With it, he brought his ultimate vision of that pure, universal space right back home to Germany, creating this absolutely timeless temple for art.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. Mies spent his entire life trying to strip away everything that was non-essential, to find a clear, simple, powerful truth. In our world today, with its constant noise and complexity, you have to wonder, is that difficult, disciplined search for less maybe more important now than it's ever been?